Hey there, coaches. This is Coach Tall Guy. Today I'm going to do a little talk on 7v7 soccer team shape. This is going to be fairly quick, so I'm going to try to run you through it as fast as I can. So when we're talking about team shape, this is the team shape right now. We're talking about the positions on the field, and you're going to notice that these little magnets have numbers on them. All right, they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Now, typically when we're doing team shape, we always kind of assume the goalie is given and we give the number to the goalie, which is number 1. All right, but when I'm talking about a team shape, I'm talking about a 2. So 2 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 1 forward. All right, so we have our 2 defenders here, our 3 midfielders, and our 1 forward. So we're playing in what's called a 2, 3, 1 shape. Now this is pretty common, pretty typical in soccer when you're playing 7v7. All the academy teams at the Edge Soccer Club play this shape. I do think it's something that the kids can pick up a little bit easier. There are other shapes out there, but today I'm just gonna go over the 2-3-1. Now these numbers have become quite popular in the game of soccer. So the numbers are just referring to positions on the field. So in this case, the 3 and the 4 are our defenders. The 5 is our center midfielder. And the 2 and the 6 are outside midfielders, and the 9 is our forward. Now, can the 6 and 2 be mixed up? That's fine, okay? It doesn't really matter, like, oh, the 6 has to be on the left, the 2 has to be on the right. It's really up to you, but this is becoming more popular. Me personally, I know all the numbers, but I still like to refer many times to them as by their position name, like left back, right back, and so on. So it's kind of up to you, but I figured you guys might as well get to know it and get an idea for it. So 2-3-1, okay? It's not a bad shape. The only real issue in this shape that I don't like is we're going to talk about your defenders and your forwards, okay? So in the 2-3-1, the hard part is you're asking 2 defenders to cover a lot of the field. So it's imperative, you guys, that when you're coaching this 2-3-1, that you do not have them like this. We cannot have our defenders with this big, massive gap, all right? Because there's just too much space for forwards to run into. So please work with your defenders. Use this word connected, all right? These guys or gals should be at most 10 yards apart from each other, at most, all right? They are always moving together as well, okay? So if the ball was here, they move together. If the ball was to come over here, they're gonna move together, okay? Keeping that 10-yard distance. If the ball is in the middle of the field, one of them's gonna pressure, one of them's gonna be in behind, all right? So we gotta make sure that those defenders stay connected, that they don't end up doing this, all right? Now, another thing that's a little bit hard in the 2-3-1 is we have just one lonely striker up here. So if this person is dependent on scoring goals, which they are, they should score goals, they're gonna need some support. And with only 1 forward, a lot of times in rec soccer, the ball might get hit down here, the forward goes, but now you notice there's nobody in support, okay? So we're asking a lot of one person to try to beat most likely 2 defenders at the most. I mean, at the least, maybe 3 defenders, okay? So we wanna make sure that we have to coach how to support this forward. So that means we gotta work hard with our 2 outside midfielders. And when we think of midfielder, when we are on attack, midfielders have to get up and support, okay? When we lose the ball, midfielders have to get back on defense. So their job is to make sure that they're transitioning quite a bit. They've got to move to offense quickly. They've got to move to defense quickly. They've really got a lot of space that they have to cover, but they've got to be willing to make those runs, okay? So important that we coach these midfielders to really support our forward. Now, one of the hard things with the forward is with young players, they think, well, I'm the forward, and they start here like this, and then they just sort of camp in the middle of the field. We want to make sure that our forwards are moving, okay? They are showing, across the field in all sorts of directions. Their job is not to stand in the middle of the field. So in this case, if the ball were out here, all right, I would want to see a forward instead of staying in the middle of the field, all right? Let's say our number 2 has it. We want our forward now to make a few different types of runs. They can make a diagonal run, they could make a square run, or they could come to the ball. But what I want you guys to really understand is that the forward just doesn't camp and stand in the middle of the field, okay? So those are some big ones that we want to work with our forward. So really important when you're coaching this shape, we want to address that defensive piece of not being too spread out, but staying compact, all right? We want to really talk about that forward moving in a variety of directions, and then coaching our midfielders to really get up and down the field in support. So looking at this, let's say we go on attack. So we're going down the field, we've got nice support, our midfielders are getting wide, okay? They're looking to maybe make some diagonal runs in. What's the problem that we're seeing? Well, the problem is this space in here. And I see this over and over again at times in recreational soccer where kids just haven't been coached enough that the whole team transitions, because we're moving on to offense, that we've got to move as a team down the field. So you'll hear a lot of coaches in games saying, push up, push up, push up. And they're right. In this situation, we need to be pushing down the field, getting in support, all right, making the field smaller so that we can now defend closer to this goal in case we lose the ball. So there's what I see a lot is this, particularly this is the one I see the most. All right, we got our 2 defenders, even though the ball's down here, they're staying on their 18-yard line, and they're, you know, some of them I've talked to at times are like, I'm like, what are you doing? Why aren't you moving down the field? And their response to me goes, well, coach, tall guy, we're defenders. And somewhere along the line, they've been taught that they just stay there and try to block shots and really protect that goal and be close. But what they're doing is they're just giving up all this space and time for the other team to go attack unopposed. So we would rather have them push down the field, all right, move down, and now that field has gotten a lot more smaller to defend, so they have less space to have to cover. Anything behind here, that's gonna potentially be offside, okay, if a player's standing there, depending on where this ball is, okay? But the big one is we just want them to make the field smaller. And if we can win the ball, let's say we lose the ball, but we win it back here, we're much closer now to still attacking and going and scoring on that goal. So coaches, please, 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 please do not just have your kids stand on the 18-yard line, all right? Encourage them to get down the field when the ball is down the field. They should look like this, all right? So that's a big one. Now, the other one I see a lot, okay, is let's say we are, you know, we've started to go down the field. All of a sudden, we've lost the ball and it's a big kick and our defenders start to come back and chase. Then I see this. I don't see our midfielders making that run back, okay? So we gotta really coach our players to get back on defense, all right? And transition back down the field, okay? So you got to work with those outside midfielders, really work with them, okay? Another one I see a lot of times is, let's say the ball's out wide here. We have good pressure on the ball, okay? We have this situation, okay, where we've left a massive gap in here. And the reason for that is, again, this player thinks, well, I might be the right back. So they think I can only go on the right side of the field. When in reality, since we only have 2 defenders, this player really has to shift across the field and provide that nice little cover, that support. And then number 2 here needs to come all the way back to give us some balance and you're gonna notice how close everybody is. And that's a huge defensive principle. We want to be compact defensively, okay? We wanna be compact. That's the biggest thing. Stop the ball, get numbers behind the ball, get compact. Now, once we win the ball, let's say number 3 here wins it, passes it there, well, now we're compact, but we're not on defense anymore. So now we wanna think about how can we open up the field. So now we've created some space, we've created some passing lanes, and we've spread the field out when we're on offense. So takeaways, defensively, we stop the ball, we get compact. Offense, we win the ball, we're transitioning to offense. Now we wanna spread the field, we wanna open the field up. So we create these nice little passing lanes to get into, okay? So to kind of just bring it all back to you, all right, for you guys who are playing 7v7, our 2 defenders are 3 and 4, so that's a 2. Our midfielders are the 6, 2, and 5. That gives us 3 in the midfield. And then our 9 up top. So we are playing in a 2-3-1, okay? I would encourage most of you to try this shape. It creates a lot of nice little triangles and diamond shapes, which are beneficial to playing the game of soccer. There's nothing wrong if you want to try another shape. You know, I've seen plenty of teams go to a 3-2-1 type of system, okay? That's fine. You got some different coaching that you have to do, particularly out in these spaces, but you are gonna be a little bit more solid defensively, all right? But you're gonna have a hard time covering that midfield, so you're giving up a lot of space. The kids are gonna have to work pretty hard, and that's a tough position. I know some coaches, they like to do like 2-2, all right? Again, not necessarily bad, all right? Not necessarily great either, but you just have to figure out how are you going to really get kids to understand using the width of the field, okay? And if you're a coach thinking, well, I'll just spread my players out more. Yeah, but now you've created another problem. Who's gonna cover this area of the field? So you gotta then really try to coach them that defensive principle, like get compact when we lose the ball, all right? They're gonna have to do that quickly. And then when you win the ball, how are you gonna stretch the field? All right, so every shape has its strengths, every shape has its weaknesses, but I would highly encourage you guys to try that 2-3-1 shape, okay? That 2-3-1. I think that one is a little bit easier for the kids to comprehend, all right? And we go from there, okay? Hopefully this kind of helps guide you a little bit in the 7v7 realm. I'll do another session where we talk about like positionally, like what do these players, like what type of players should they be? You know, if you're gonna put a kid here in the defense who, you know, quite frankly doesn't wanna mix it up, doesn't wanna get involved in a tackle, you're probably gonna struggle a little bit. If you're putting like, you know, a kid here who just doesn't have a motor, doesn't want to run up and down the field, probably not the best spot for them. So I'll go into another video about the traits and characteristics of different positions. Hope this helps. Good luck to you guys this weekend, and I'll talk to you later.